Human Settlements Minister Thembi Simelane is handing over more than 200 houses to families displaced by the devastating 2022 floods in KwaZulu-Natal. The torrential rain and landslides claimed more than 400 lives and left thousands homeless. Newzroom Afrika's Ndlovu is in Pietermaritzburg and joins us now. It's been a long wait, Silethiwe, but finally the day has come.
Certainly, Vuyo, the day has come for quite a number of families that were displaced during the 2022 floods. And as you mentioned, there's a few families that have received those homes. But earlier on in the morning, Vuyo, we were in the area of Mbendle, where we know that there's families there, beneficiaries, 6 beneficiaries that received temporary residential units. Now, we were told that after those units, there will be a building process that will take place where they will then receive their permanent homes. Of course, we had a conversation with them. They were quite delighted to receive the TRUs, but also quite delighted, Vuyo, as we know that the province of KZN is faced with a challenge where a number of flood victims are still being housed in temporary shelters. Now, this particular area where I am right now is the area of Copesville in Pietermaritzburg. Now, in this area, Vuyo, there's a number of beneficiaries that have received permanent homes, and this is now after their homes were also completely destroyed by the floods of 2022. And as you can see, these residents here were also living in TRUs at some point, but obviously the handover today quite crucial because they have now moved into their permanent homes. The beneficiaries that we had a conversation with earlier on speaking to us about something crucial that the minister also touched on a bit earlier on today, where they mentioned that initially when they were moved in this area, there's a number of residents that rejected those different flood victims. Now, of course, we know that that's one of the major problems that is faced by the provincial government, where you find that when they try to provide interventions and they identify land in different areas here in the province of KZN, the residents in those different areas actually do reject those flood victims from moving or integrating into those different communities. In Shellcross, for example, we know that the residents there mentioned that they have service delivery issues, stating that the provincial government should first fix those service delivery issues. In the area of Montclair, they mentioned that there's a vetting process that needs to take place with those different flood victims, as they do fear, of course, that the level of crime in that area is going to rise if those flood victims are not properly vetted. However, Vuyo, we did have a conversation with the Minister of Human Settlements, Thembi Simelane, who mentioned that they are going to continue to provide interventions despite the number of challenges that is faced by the government. Let's have a listen to what she had to say to us a bit earlier on.
And we're bringing in the interim what we call temporary residential unit, TRUs. But of course, the contractor is brought by a team which I'm with today to make sure that we also begin to roll out the permanent allocation of the houses that the families so desire. In total, here in the local municipality of Mbendle, in terms of our disaster response, with the 6 that we're handing over today, we will actually be totaling around 246. So the response has been there. It might have not been prompt because it's informed by the fiscus and the difficulties that we have. We've just completed last week, 2 weeks ago, the relocation of Umtata. What made it long? The budget was made available, well, land parcels. A community is saying, not in my backyard, this space is mine. eThekwini would have concluded the Lamontville relocation. I went there. The local said, Minister, not in our backyard, we don't want these people. The association which makes it difficult for even municipalities to engage, and it takes time for making our people understand that we all are equal. and government try to prioritize on the basis of disaster and emergency, people will need to be relocated from one area to the other where it is not safe. So, and remember, even you, a person who's being relocated, we start by convincing you. Because you have been born and bred in that space, you actually don't see yourself existing in another space, and you don't want to. And that is why it takes a bit of time. But we're harmonizing our communities.
Silethiwe Ndlovu, with that update, surely there has to be a way around both the issues of the time it takes to actually be able to relocate these people, but also the issue of course, communities that refuse to have these homes built next to their areas. We cannot go on like this. Every time there is such a disaster, the same set of problems crops up again.